What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles. Today we're going to cover a topic of back versus belly heat when it comes to rack heating systems. So I'll tell you what I prefer when we go into the video, tell you why, and the pros and cons of both. So I want to first start off by saying that I've used both. I like both. I think they both have a purpose for what we're doing. Right now, at this point, everything I have for racks is belly heat. And the reasoning for that, first let's go into actually what each one of them is. So when you get a rack, you can usually get it three ways. One is unheated, no heat tape at all. It's basically a rack with some bins that you can slide in. Second way is back heat. So in the back of the rack, they'll run a strip of heat tape or some heat panels or whatever each rack system is going to use, and it runs down the back of the rack, has no direct contact with the tub. And then the third way is belly heat, where the heat tape is actually directly onto the bottom of the tub or is underneath it, which the tub would slide over. So me personally, I prefer belly heat. The reasoning for that is I can run my temperatures or my thermostat at lower temperatures because it has a direct contact with the tub. So if I set my thermostat probe on the heat tape, I may be able to set it at, let's say 95 degrees, and then right where that heat tape is underneath the tub, it'll be 90 degrees. And that, to me, gives a more accurate reading on my hotspot. The downside to that is that can also superheat your tub pretty quickly, and it's more difficult to create that gradient. So you need to kind of find that balance. You have to make sure that your tubs are big enough to give you the temperatures that you want. Back heat is almost kind of like an ambient heating in a sense, where the back of the rack is going to create this kind of thermal gradient right around this side. And if you set this, let's say I set this to 95 degrees, this kind of area in general is going to be in that 85 to 95 degree range, depending on your room temperature. And then as you get closer to the front, this area will be a little bit cooler. Again, me personally, I like to be able to have the heat directly on the tub so the snake can actually sit right on top of that heat tape. That will give them direct belly heat right to the snake. And it'll also create this kind of ambient temperature zone in this area around here, as opposed to that back heat that's going to have this temperature zone that will kind of come up and fall off at this type of curve situation where you're going to have the heat, or it may actually be kind of this type of curve. Is the top of the rack is going to be over here, heat rises. So this is kind of the gradient where your heat is going to be heating up this area of the tub. Nothing wrong with either of them. Again, I just personally like it right there. Right, so the snake can sit on top of the heat tape. I can control the exact temperatures. Another thing to consider is if you are using, let's say this is in your bedroom, and your heat in your bedroom in summertime, all that, it might fluctuate. So because back heat is in the back of your rack, it's going to fluctuate a lot more with the temperatures of your ambient temperature. So in the summertime, you might have the air conditioning on. Wintertime, you might have the heat on. So your room temperature might fluctuate 5 to 10 degrees or so, depending on what it is. The summertime, it might just get really hot. You don't have any air conditioning, and your room might be 80 degrees or so. And then that back heat is still going to stay there. Same thing happens with that belly heat. But it's just, I find it more accurate when you have it on the bottom. So if you are going to use that type of rack system with the back heat, I think it's better suited for rooms with the more stable ambient temperature, or species that have a little bit more of a gradient flux that you can put them into, as opposed to the belly heat, which is pretty universal overall, and that's why I use it in general. The third option is no heat at all, and you just heat your whole room. I've done that in the past as well. I find it much more beneficial to the snakes to give them that temperature gradient, as opposed to me saying this whole container here is going to be 82 degrees. I would rather have this spot at 90 and this spot at 80. And that's kind of all I can say about it. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If not, I don't know what to tell you, but keep subscribing, keep liking the video, hit the little bell notification, and we'll keep the videos coming. Give me some topics in the comments, because I'm running out of stuff to talk about. I have a few videos to go. We're going to work through the list, and we'll keep all this stuff going. I appreciate you guys watching.